Angry guy here, and women are fearful single men will leave them homeless. So, women are fearful single men will leave them homeless. Let's just go ahead and jump right into the article. This is pretty insane, guys, but I want you to see it for yourself. You know, the Migglypuffs predicted a lot of this would end up happening. Woman examines potential risk for women in society shifting away from traditional relationships. So these are feminist women, college educated feminist women who are actually furious that we are shifting away from a traditional society. These are non traditional women, modern women who are afraid that traditionalism or the loss of traditionalism in society is going to have a terrible effect on the lives of women, leaving them homeless in destitution, and possibly even facing other repercussions such as loss of freedoms like reproductive rights, as well as no fault divorce. Let's just go ahead and jump into the article. In a time where traditional relationships are a backseat, content creator Ali Ruker explores into a pressing issue that is sparking both concern and controversy. In this clip, she sheds light on the growing unease among many women. The discomfort stems from a noticeable trend, men increasingly falling short of modern women's expectations in marriage and dating. Oh, it's all about them, isn't it? It is absolutely always all about them. Ruker explores the worry that as a reaction to this shift, some men might resort to extreme measures, such as possible actions that could harm women or be are manipulative legislative actions. These tactics, she argues, could be aimed at making women more dependent on men, consequently diminishing their ability to be selective in their relationships. It's a topic that not only raises eyebrows, but also crucial questions about the evolving dynamics of gender, power, and choice in today's society. In the video, Ruker draws from an article by The Hill titled, Most Young Men Are Single, Most Young Women Are Not, to highlight a significant social shift. The Hill's article reveals a stark disparity. Over 60% of young men are single, nearly double the rate of single young women. This trend points to a breakdown in the social, romantic, and sexual lives of young American men who are increasingly friendless, lonely, and disengaged from relationships. Guys, if these people are not wicked, if they are not the definition of wicked, I do not know what else actually is. However, it keeps on going from there. The article highlights the profound social and emotional disconnect plaguing young men, a crisis that sometimes has tragic outcomes, such as a higher delete rate among young men and their predominant role in the increasing incidence of mass deletions. This disconnection, according to experts, is a consequence of social changes that have eroded traditional gender roles and patriarchal structures. The shift towards gender parity has significantly altered relationship dynamics. Greg Matos, a psychologist, notes that young women, now more empowered and independent, are less inclined to settle for subpar relationships. The rise in unpartnered Americans, particularly among the young, has been further exacerbated by the events of 2020. The article also sheds light on the emotional challenges men face. Many young men are not only struggling in the dating scene, but also in forming meaningful friendships. This is attributed to the traditional masculine ideal, which often shuns emotional openness and empathy, qualities increasingly sought after by modern women. As a seasoned relationship coach, my perspective is that the concerns highlighted by Ali regarding the potential backlash from men in response to social shifts are valid and warrant serious consideration, drawing parallels to situations like that of very bad guys. It Let's just refer to them as the incels. It becomes evident that the feelings of marginalization and rejection in the dating scene have very serious repercussions. However, the solution lies not in urging women to lower their standards, but in encouraging men to undertake a more active journey of inner development. Guys, it just gets worse. It literally just gets worse. I mean, the narcissism that we are witnessing, it just keeps on growing substantially. And it's amazing because there seems to be literally no sense of self or empathy towards men from women. Men who benefit greatly from cultivating self awareness and relationship skills that align better with the expectations of modern women. This development is crucial not just for their personal growth, but also for fostering healthier and more satisfying relationships. By doing so, men can become partners that women actively desire to be with rather than a choice made out of necessity. Empathy and understanding towards the struggles men face in today's dating landscape are important, but it is equally essential to empower and encourage men to evolve. This evolution will not only improve their prospects in the dating scene, but will also contribute to the overall health and happiness of relationships. When women meet men they genuinely want to be with, the dynamics of these relationships will naturally shift towards being more balanced and fulfilling. What this is happening, what this is illustrating, is that men are walking away from Western society. You know, most people do not make $100,000 in Western society. It's something like 10%. Something like 10% of all people make like $100,000. But women are making it very clear that they will not consider anyone that doesn't make at least six figures. And when we say at least six figures, we're talking about, and the upper six figures are even $1 million a year. And they don't care that this is very unlikely. They don't care that most guys cannot. It's not feasible, and that you need someone. Someone has to drive the dump truck. Someone has to put out. Someone has to be a fireman. Someone has to police the streets. And put the bad guys away when they're misbehaving. These jobs have to be done, but they don't comprehend that. They don't care. All they want is their bag. They want a man who is 6 feet tall, who is going to give them a significant amount of money, who is going to give them a life where they don't have to cook, clean, work, or do anything or bring anything to the relationship. They're good, and it allows them the freedom to have an open marriage where they can go out and have relationships with anyone they choose to outside of their marriage. Basically, they want a relationship like Destiny. They want someone like Destiny, right? Who is in an open marriage, and his wife has essentially an only fools, and she does whatever she wants. Whatever she wants. And I find it actually quite detestable. This is the relationship that they want. What they see happening here is they see the fact that when men become indifferent to relationships, when men become indifferent to women, that means that men no longer care anymore. And the thing that scares women the most is when a man stops caring about them. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. And what women fear the most is not men that hate. No, they fear the most men that are indifferent. Because when men stop caring about them, that's when their survival, their capacity for survival, their ability to survive decreases substantially. That's why women create chaos in relationships. They create chaos in relationships to make sure that the man still cares about them. If a man in a relationship basically just walks away from her, or avoids her chaos when she's creating it in the relationship, she starts to become frantic and furious because that tells her that the man no longer cares about her. What she wants the guy to do is to get frustrated, to get upset, to respond to her. All right, that actually makes her feel safer when they are fighting and they're in a situation where they don't want to speak to one another. That's when she's at her happiest, because that means he still cares. Guys, it is imperative that men walk away. As you can see, they're fearful. Women are fearful. Single men will leave them homeless. They're fearful that single men will result in them losing freedoms and a variety of other rights because they're losing access to their simps. Okay? We've said this before. The reason why these women are going after passport kings and the women in foreign countries is because they want the men who are still here to know, the beta male orbiters, don't you ever think about trying to do what those passport kings did. Don't ever do it. Because if you do it, we will name you, we will shame you, and we will destroy as much of you as possible in Western society. We will destroy your reputation. We will make it hard for you to survive. We will come after you, and we will come hard. Because this is what they fear the most. They fear men walking away, disengaging, and becoming indifferent. That entire article has no semblance of empathy, looking at the hardships men actually go through. What they're talking about is basically men continuously validating women, all right? When they say emotional disconnect, no, they want men that are continuously validating her throughout the entire day, constantly validating her, constantly assuring her, constantly giving her attention. It is extreme narcissism. Men who will give her as much money as she wants, all right? Men who are a millionaire, because women are not settling for men who are just as, or who are simply as good as them. The man has to be better than them. Okay? This is what they don't say. A woman does not want a man who makes less money than them. A woman doesn't even want a man typically who makes the same amount of money as them. They want a man who makes significantly more money than they do so that they can live comfortable lives. And then they'll go out, work on top of that, make their own money, keep all of that money, and use that money to have fun. So the man's money is their money, and their money is their money. That is Western society. That is a modern day relationship. And of course, of course you're going to realize they're going to be furious when men are leaving Western society. You know, MK Fitness has said travel bans are coming, and they're going to do something. They're going to put up something because there's a lot of money. When tens of millions of men start walking away from Western society, when 30 million men start walking away from Western society, that's between $400 and $500 billion. That's like $500 billion. When 30 million men start walking away from Western society, that's like $500 billion lost in Western society every single year. They can't afford that. Are you kidding me? It will bankrupt the United States. Because who pay the majority of taxes in Western society? Men who use it. When men pass away, we leave a surplus on the economy. When women pass away, they leave a deficit. A country is only as strong as its men. And these women are panicking and filled with fear because as men are walking away, everything starts to shut down. Everything starts to collapse. The jig is up. Women hold up half the sky. Oh, yeah? Okay, so let's see you hold it up. And then the sky starts falling. And then keep in mind, these men are not fighting with anyone. They're not creating problems. They're walking away. They're going home. They've left. A lot of they're going home. If they're not leaving the country, they're just going home, playing video games, watching TV, resting, not engaging, not bothering women, not bothering men, not bothering anyone else. They're not ganging up because they talked about loneliness and how men have very few friends or no friends at all. So they're not hanging out with other men. So think about this. They're not hanging out with men. They're not hanging out with other women. And they're hanging out with women. And keep in mind, it's women themselves who said that men should never approach a woman in society. They should never approach a woman they do not know. They should never speak to a woman they do not know. They should never approach a stranger, a female stranger. They should stay away. This is what they say, and these men are listening. They should not even at the gym, do not even glance in the direction of a woman. At the gym, it doesn't matter if you are a far distance behind her. Do not glance in her direction. Do not glance at her. Do not look at her. Do not come anywhere near her. So what are guys doing? Guys are doing exactly that. They're avoiding as much as possible. And the thing is that these women, as they're telling men to do this, they're furious that men are doing it. There's literally no winning, and the only way to win is not to play the game at all. Guys, they're going to start the bachelor taxes are coming. The bachelor taxes are definitely coming, but the crazy thing about the bachelor taxes is that if you have bachelor taxes, you have to also tax the women. So women are going to be furious that they're being taxed extra so that other women can live easy lives. What they're predominantly going to want is for men to pay these taxes. And the crazy thing is, the more you tax men, the more men will just give, the more you tax men that are already walking away, the more these men will just work less and work off the books and shrink down their necessities. You'll have a lot of guys who will have a small amount of savings, keep some money in crypto, maybe do a little day trading here and there, drive for Uber when they need to. And what guys will do is they will reduce their earnings down to a point where they're basically just below the poverty line, but that's enough money for them to survive. But they're just below the poverty line. So when they shrink the things down that much, they're not making enough. They're making so little that the government can't really tax them. If you're making only $15,000 a year, government can't really do much to you. What are you going to do? And not only this is where things get so cool. Not only does it make it very difficult for the government to tax you, heck, they may even owe you some money in tax credits, but now you're going to qualify for things like Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare is for old people. You'll qualify for things like Medicaid. You'll qualify for food stamps. You qualify for a bunch of different things. So a lot of these guys will basically just shrink their expenses down to the point where they're just below the poverty line. They can qualify for free health insurance. They can qualify for food. A lot of these guys will just start going to the food banks and loading up on food there as well. They'll get a camper and they'll live in a camper on a piece of land. Or if that doesn't work, they'll just live in the woods. All right. And they are happiest as long as, and listen to me, with Starlink internet, where you can have internet practically anywhere right now, dudes will walk around with their Starlink satellite, pluck that bad boy down in the ground, have internet anywhere, and that's enough to play their video games, on a gaming laptop. And I mean, there's some guys that just have a tablet, and they live out of a backpack. And a lot of dudes will just do this now. A lot of men will just start living out of backpacks. All right. And they'll walk away from Western society entirely. And women can't do a darn thing about that. Oh, what are you going to do? Throw them all in jail? Keep on attacking them? The more that women do, they don't realize that there are people watching, and it makes them look terribly bad. And it's only going to further distance men and women. And men and women are already distanced. There's no coming back from it. But it's only they're basically creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Guys, what do you think regarding this? Because I am quite excited. Women are fearful single men will leave them homeless. I want to know your thoughts in the comments, so let's talk about them there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA men walking away. And cheers.